All right, we're going live on YouTube right now, so just heads up. It's just about to.
What link do I put it on the channel?
I'm gonna find out right after it goes live, and I'll Slack it to you real quick.
Okay.
We'll just kind of hang out live for a second.
Sure.
And I'm gonna stop talking as much as I can after it goes live, and I'll Slack it to you.
Okay.
We'll just kind of hang out live for a second.
All right, cool. All right, looks like we're live now on this call. Sorry for the quick last minute audible, everybody. We had to make a change. Google made a change that we had to make an adjustment to last minute. So everyone, welcome to this call. So I think we're good to go, and I'm just gonna roll with this guy. So hopefully, there'll be. Let me see if there's gonna be any type of chat here, and if there's questions, because we did promise that this would be a chat engage type thing. So all right, okay, cool. All right, awesome. Let's see participants here. I don't think I'm going to see any participants. I'm assuming so. All right, let me do one thing here. All right, give me just a second, guys. If you guys can see and hear my screen on, if you're in live chat, if you guys can go back to that page, or if you're within that page, let me know you can see and hear our screen. And if I can get at least a couple of people to confirm that, we'll go ahead and get this call started. All right. Sweet. All right, I'm just gonna wait for another thing. All right, let me just check our chat here. All right. Bear with us, guys. Sorry for wait. We should have this all up and running here shortly. Okay. Coaching call. All right.
Cool. Yeah, Adrian, looks like we got some people trickling in now.
Awesome. Cool. All right.
Adrian, I sent you the YouTube link. And if anybody's watching this on our website, if you view it in YouTube, you can join the chat there as well on youtube.com. Or feel free to type through live chat on our website. In YouTube, you can join the chat there as well on youtube.com. Or feel free to type.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Just want to make sure. For some reason, I lost all audio. Awesome. So I think we are good. If I can, Brady, if you can let me know, you can. I just took my screen full screen. So if everything looks good, let me know that you guys can also hear me. That would be awesome. And then we'll go ahead and make sure we get this call started. That would be awesome. Awesome. And then we'll go ahead and make sure we get this call. Cool. All right. All right. Awesome. Cool. All right. We're good. Let me just make sure everything's good. This is so different than how we're doing it this week. So again, our apologies, guys. Sweet. All right. Let's go ahead and get this call started. So thank you guys for, first of all, for being patient. This is call number 262, SEO. And we're going to talk about SEO, and then we're going to have a Q&A session. So if you guys are on the coaching call page, you can submit your information there. And then, or if you're on YouTube, I'll kind of go back and forth there on YouTube too. So if you guys have questions on SEO, you can submit them there. So let's go and get this call started. What these weekly coaching calls are about, it's focused about making you guys successful with the Carrot system. Okay, so these calls are not about fluff or anything that makes us look smart, makes us seem smart. It's all about, we try to cover topics, guys, that's going to really help you now, right? So every week we're going to choose a different topic, and here's the other thing too. If there's a topic, if there's some struggle that you guys would love for us to dedicate a whole call to, always feel free to submit that information over to us. You can email that over to support@carrot.com, or just chime in through live chat and let us know, hey, would love to cover this, and we can set that up. Because again, these calls, the topics that we want to discuss are things that we want. Really, it should be something that helps you today, not something down the road. So anyways, so these coaching calls are topic based. It's here to support you. Any questions, use a chat box, or if you're on YouTube on this particular call, send them through there as well in that platform. I'll kind of navigate back and forth. So, and make sure that your questions are very specific. All right. New content to check out. Episode 167 of the Carrot Cast. My biggest breakthroughs in business and life were revealed at Wholesaling Elite Live 2019, and that was Maxwell's event, which was awesome. Trevor was one of the speakers there, and he hit it out of the ballpark with his topic. And so check that out. Great Carrot Cast. If you guys are not subscribed, please do so. And I know you'll get a lot of value out of that. Case study over in our the Carrot blog. Google AdWords traffic to Carrot. Ad traffic to Carrot websites reveal the most click page on your site. So something that we've always talked about. Where's your traffic going? What is, what's and I always, because here's the thing, guys, if you guys can understand where people are navigating on your site, that can reveal a lot to you, right? I know we just did the Ask Carrot last Thursday, and one of the ideas that we threw out there was, if you follow stats, if you follow data, that's enough information to create content. Because I know a lot of people struggle with, hey, I don't know what to talk about. What new content should I create? So this is a great blog post that kind of walks you through what pages are the most visited, and something for you to kind of pay attention to on your own site. So episode 166, this is one of our greatest hits. We have Tyler Ford in this particular episode, and talk about how has Carrot, what has his strategy as well mixed with Carrot, how has his business been changed. So check that out. So check those stuff out. Awesome. So cool. So this is really cool. Special shout out to Carrot, the real estate platform, coming in at a cool 0.189 seconds. They don't have a ton of customers in the grams by, so I have to include them in the chart. Kudos. So it looks like we got a shout out from Fresh Talk, which is probably a non-real estate platform, and sounds like they were testing some stuff out, and got a shout out from them. So that's the thing, guys. That's one of the things that I always want you guys to be proud about, is you're using a platform that we are always investing in making sure the platform is at its best, and now and in the future. That's one of the cool things that I love. That retreat, we had our Carrot retreat 2 weeks ago in Oregon, and one of my favorite parts of the retreat is hearing from our dev team, our development team. These are the guys behind the scenes. These are the smart techie guys that make Carrot what it is on the tech side. And it's just amazing how we're always pushing to innovate. We're always pushing to make the platform even better. So I'm just super proud of them. And it is, because a lot of people can try and mimic Carrot in terms of the visual, but I can honestly and sincerely say that no one touches Carrot on the tech side. And that's one of the reasons why our Carrot ranks so well if you put enough effort into it. So pretty cool to see that. So again, something to be proud about, and and that's the other thing too. It's amazing how Carrot has continued to invest into the product. So just know that. I just want you guys to know that. All right. So here's kind of the ongoing thing. So this is a I guess this is what they're doing in terms of the testing. So it just really shows you how Carrot, in terms of the overall industry, not just real estate, but just overall industry, just how well we did rank. So it's awesome. Just really on the speed test and just on the tech side. I'm not an expert in reading these, but it's amazing. It's really cool to see a big organization give props to Carrot for this. So anyways, awesome. And big shout out to our dev team making this all happen. And so cool. Yeah, so your coach for today, actually, speaking of the retreat, this is our last retreat, which happened 2 weeks ago. It was really, really cool. Always awesome to see everybody in the same room. And it's just really, really cool. And as you see in this picture, the team is is growing. It's amazing to see Carrot from what it was a couple of years ago, and to what it is now, and just how it continues to grow. So sweet. Coach for today, that's the guy, me pointing at you, saying thank you for being here. But cool. Appreciate everyone on this call. And again, apologize for the glitches and all that's going on, but we'll go make this call. Cool. All right. So what is SEO? Obviously I have, so let's jump in the call. So what is SEO? SEO, if most of you do not know, stands for search engine optimization. And at its simplest definition or explanation, it's simply doing those things that's going to help promote your website to rank better. Okay. At the end of the day, to rank organically, to show up in Google or really any search engine, you got to have the trust of the search engine. So typically we always talk about Google because they are the biggest, they're probably the most used, largest search engine. They're kind of the king of that space. So everything is kind of based around them. So many of you probably have heard our customers, say, wow, I did this, now I'm ranking well, I'm getting all these leads. So I'm going to bring context to that. I think sometimes just because there's this understanding sometimes, unfortunately, that just because you're optimizing, it's going to generate leads. Doing SEO in itself, guys, does not produce leads. SEO in itself does not produce leads. What SEO does, what optimization does, what your Carrot system can do for you is position you where the leads are, which is page 1 of Google. You have to be on page 1 of Google to generate leads consistently. Okay, so now we've had members reach out to us, even though they're not ranking quite the best. Leads will come in, will kind of trickle in here and there, but where the leads come in consistently and where it's more predictable, you have to be on page 1. So for me, anytime I launch a new website, anytime I want to go into a new market, there's really 2 main objectives. Okay, one is to get to page 1 first. Okay, the second objective is once I get to page 1, I want to get the highest and best position possible, because again, it's one thing to be on page 1, but then you got to command the highest possible position. Stats have shown that the number 1 position site organically commands about 35% of traffic. The second position site about 15, 17%. And then as you go down, it goes 10% and below. And I believe the number 10, the 10th position site on page 1 commands about 2%. Okay, so you see a big difference between 35% on the being number 1 and getting about 2% being number 10. So now, as far as what is 30%, as far as trying to put a number to that, it just really depends on your market. Okay, so for me, if you are in a smaller market, the pros and cons, just being transparent, is the pros is you probably are likely to rank faster and get there. The only thing is, when you're in a smaller market, you're not going to have a crazy volume. Like one of the markets I'm in right now is actually where I live, Wilmington, North Carolina, and we probably produce, our population is around 125 somewhere. That's not really including the outer skirts, rural area, but where we're trying to target directly in is about 125, and we probably produce, I'm going to probably say 3-4 leads a month organically, and then we probably produce usually around 8 leads Well, no. So SEO probably is around 10 leads a month, somewhere at 10, 15, anywhere between 10 and 15. And then organic or with paid advertising, Google AdWords, it's usually around anywhere from 4 to 8 leads a month. Okay, so you see that that's not much of volume to where in Pittsburgh or Columbus, Ohio, we're probably doing double that, just simply because of the population factor. Now, when you do go into a larger market, yes, the pros is that you can command more volume. On the other side of it, it does take more effort and it can take more time to get to where you need to be before you start getting those leads consistently. So again, just a really quick non-formal explanation of SEO and what is SEO, and where at what point do you start getting leads more consistently. Let's just put it that way. So hopefully that kind of helps give you an overview. Time frame, we always talk anywhere from 4 to 6 months. Again, depending on the market, depending on your consistency, and also just making sure you're doing those right things. Now, when I say doing those right things, that doesn't necessarily mean do it perfectly. I think the key thing there is the word consistency. So hopefully that makes sense. Any questions up to this point? So I kind of want to make sure that I'm not just zooming through this and then get all the questions at the end of the call. So let's do this. Any questions up to this point? If not, I can continue on. So wow, glad it wasn't my hearing. Awesome, cool. So any questions? I'm just checking over on YouTube and then also on this. So copped up. How about backlinks? How about localizing category and tags? So see. All right. So yeah, today's setup, guys, is a little bit different. So if this is your first call, this is the way that you got on this call. It hasn't been our normal setup. They just Google discontinued Google AdWords, or not Google. No, let me take that back. Google discontinued Hangout, which was what we were using for those weekly coaching calls. But that's been discontinued. So we've had to make an adjustment for today's call, just to make sure there is a call. We kind of did a kind of a hack with Zoom. And so it is a little bit different, guys. So kind of just bear with us, be patient. I don't think this is going to be our typical setup. We'll have to get that figured out this coming week. But yeah, today's call format is a little bit different than the norm. So you might have to kind of work a little bit harder to get that question in, whether you're on YouTube, just use the YouTube comment section, or if you're watching this on within your Carrot account, just use your chat box and we'll make sure we get those calls answered. So cool. All right, awesome. So, all right, looks like no questions. So here's kind of the things. So let me do this. Again, today's call, unfortunately, we just kind of got into a weird situation. So, all right, so let's kind of start the question. So let's start with the SEO. And I want to start more of the diagnose. All right. So, and if there's some questions that you guys have, like maybe you don't have a question, but there's certain topics that you want to discover, those are going to be topics that we can just do for a feature call, which would be perfect, because SEO is there's so many dynamics that kind of play a role. So today I just want to cover what are some questions, problems, things that you guys are struggling with, things you need clarified, and we can go over that. Okay. So, but if there's some stuff that you feel like, hey, this would be great for a future call, please submit that as well, and we can go ahead and get those scheduled as well. So, for an example, here we go. How backlinks. Backlinks, I'll be honest with you guys, that's just not something that you can just really teach in a short coaching call. If what we've done is that we have the 3 lead per day training, and we have a whole module that was built out step by step on how to do that. And there's really nothing different than what I would try and show you on here than what's already taught in there. And just because there's so many dynamics that play a role, so many different moving parts, it's just so hard to do that on a coaching call. So again, if you guys are in that situation where you're having to build out more backlinks, or you need to get started on backlinks, make the investment into the 3 lead per day training if you don't have it yet, and just start diving into module 4. How about localizing categories and tags? That's a great topic. So we'll write that down. That's definitely a topic that is, you know, a small section of SEO. So I think that'd be a good idea. So we'll, Barry, thank you for submitting that. So we'll have another call talking about categories and tags. Cool. Let's see here. All right. Is there any possibility for new carrot? All right. Yeah. So it's probably not a topic for this call, because this is all about SEO. But we'll definitely make sure that's noted, Adrian, about new carrot themes, different, I guess, new strategy themes, I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah, we'll definitely pass that along to our dev team for sure, or growth team actually. Cool. All right. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get some questions started. Let's this call is Q&A. So that means I need questions before you get answers. So let's get some questions brewing, and let me just make sure that there's no questions over on the YouTube side. Awesome. So awesome. Okay, cool. All right. So as I'm waiting for some questions, let's just go ahead and go through here. So here's some stuff that I think is really, really important, that I think a lot of people are still overlooking. Before you really start diving into, let's say, backlinks or citations, I think the number one thing that most everybody in this call needs to do, because I continue to see it, is you guys are not changing up your content. Okay. And when I say content, I'm talking about so I'll just make this easy for you guys. When I say content, we're talking about just the city specific pages, which includes your homepage. Okay. It is very, very important, guys, that you guys are changing up your homepage, and and if you're targeting other cities, you got to change those for sure. I'm not too concerned with the about page or the how it works page, or what I call the other supporting page. The pages that you really want to focus on changing up or personalizing more is the pages that you want ranking. Okay. And that typically is the homepage and the city specific pages. Okay. Those, you guys, you have to change those up. Now, when I say change it up, I'm not saying you strip the content. I'm not saying you got to go in and reword everything. You got just reword up to 15-20% of the content. I mean, there might be places to where maybe you change, instead of it saying property, you say home, or instead of it saying home, maybe you say property, or vice versa. And then, but one thing that I would suggest, instead of going in there and trying to reword everything, one of the best way to personalize is just add on content. And what's the best, and what is that what is that content that you can add on? Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself and just talk about, hey, my name is Adrian. I just wanted to personally say thank you for being on my website. If you're here to sell a house and would like an easy process, need a transaction that's easy where you're paying no fees, awesome, you're at the right place. Please continue reading below, and we'll walk through how this whole thing works. Okay, so something like that, guys. I mean, just adding on maybe 3 or 4 sentences can really make all the difference. And I know there's a lot of argument out there that says, okay, well, if you have duplicate content, Google's going to penalize you. It's not that Google penalizes you, right? It's not that they penalize you. What happens is, first understand that Google is still a system. It's still a computer. Okay, so when they see, maybe, I'm just making this up, just give you guys a visual. Let's just say that there's 2 pages in a certain market that's very identical. Now Google has to decide which is better, which is going to get promoted. Because again, Google's objective when it comes to promoting sites is which site has more value and which site do they trust more. So I mean, of course, there's roles that play a role in how that is determined, but just so simply, you're just helping Google figure out which content is different, which is better. So what happens is that when there's two conflicting, and again, this is not always 100%, because let me just say this. You got to kind of just take what Google says with a grain of salt. I have gone into markets and I've tested this to where I didn't change anything and I rank fine. But then in some markets, what happens is that there's that conflict. Okay. So I just say, don't take any chances, take the time and just personalize your content. But what I was explaining was what's happening is not that Google is going to penalize you. Google's system just doesn't know which is which because they're seeing something very identical. So to avoid that, again, just the best thing to do, and it's something you should do anyways, even if you're not focused on SEO. You guys, everyone should be going into the website and making it your own. Okay, so because I mean, the way I look at it, this is my business, this is my livelihood. I want to do everything humanly possible that's within my control to make sure that my site is optimized, not just for SEO, not just for keywords, but it's as optimized as possible to give someone a good user experience, to provide value to someone, right? So everyone should have that mindset. Don't change content, don't add content, don't delete content just for the sake of SEO. The first thought process should always be, how do I add value? What can I say that someone will trust me more? What can I say that I can show that I'm here to sincerely be of help, that I'm here to solve someone's problem? Those are little things that you can just insert or plug into the content. So I would say don't even worry about trying to reword your content. Just add on new content. And what is that new content? Just your plea, just your why someone should trust you, why you stand out, why do you think you're most qualified? What makes you different from someone else? Those are the things that you can kind of plug in and just do that for every page, and so if you have 20 page, I mean, it is what it is. You just go through each 20 page and find ways to differentiate these pages differently from other people or from other sites or even your other pages. So, again, number 2 is really, I don't think you guys have to really worry much about that because Carrot has done a phenomenal job on the on-page optimization and the keywords that are already sprinkled in for sure. So 2, I mean, it is still good to kind of do a keyword search perhaps. So just make sure that, but if you're seeing opportunity to sprinkle in more keywords, but make sure that your keywords make sense. Don't just throw in keywords for the sake of throwing in more keywords. It has to make sense. It has to read well. So be careful with that as well. So kind of number 2 kind of goes into what we just talked about, number 1. All right. Not localizing enough. Like I said, making sure that you're mentioning, don't just go after keywords, but making sure that you're inserting the city, insert the county. Also, combine both when you're inserting your state, make some that are abbreviated and make some that are fully spelled out. So those are some ways too that you can really show Google where you're trying to focus that page. Where's that page being focused on? So have done any off-page stuff. This is where now, typically, if you're in a small market, just the on-page optimization alone and sharing your website on social media consistently, sometimes that's enough to get a website ranking well over time. Now, in some markets, I would say if you're 500K and above, meaning population, you will likely need to jump into citations, backlinks, being very active on social media with your website, especially your blog posts. That's one of the best ways to be active on social media is just simply share blogs, your blog articles on your website. One of my lead managers, or my lead manager, I only have one of her responsibilities on the admin side is that she goes into our Facebook page and goes into our Twitter business page, and she just shares content. And our objective is not really to try and produce leads from it, our objective is just to send those signals out to Google that, hey, we're providing value through content on social media, because that's what Google expects of a business. That's what they expect from a brand, is that you should be active on social media. Again, it goes back to that, what we said at the beginning. Everything that you're doing with SEO, everything that applies to SEO, it's either directly or indirectly related to getting Google's trust. That's really what it's about, guys. It's all about giving Google enough trust to continue to promote you. Okay. So, all right. Not being patient enough. So if you just started last week and you're wondering why you're not ranking, why am I not coming up? You just got to be patient. SEO is a process. Again, most markets, you're probably gonna be looking at anywhere 4 months, 6 months, even 12 months, depending on how competitive and also depending on the market size. I would say anywhere from 0 to maybe 250K population. It could be 3 to 6 months. And anything above that population, I likely will say if you're optimizing right, probably 6 months and more. Okay, so just kind of that's why that's why you should always have other marketing going. I learned the hard way early on. You can't be a one-trick pony. You just can't focus just on SEO when you're starting out in this business. If you're just starting out in this business, you shouldn't just be focusing just on SEO, because it is going to take some time. So you want to make sure that you're creating a budget, that you can do Google AdWords or Facebook. Find other ways to get leads coming in. Or in the meantime, just use your website simply for credibility. I know people that are doing cold calling, text messaging when they're setting up their appointments for these leads, is that they're directing people to their website because they want people to feel comfortable that hey, this is legit. We're not a scam. We're a real company. Because remember, when you're cold calling or knocking on people's door, you're a complete stranger, and the last thing that people want to do is get taken. So you got to have something that you can reach in your back pocket and show them that you're legit. And one of the best ways is just direct them to your website. But again, it goes back to making sure that your website is localized. It's making sure you have enough credibility, using testimonials, and also just being transparent. Put a picture up of your team or yourself. You can do that. So, what videos can I watch to help me with PPC? So, and that 3 lead per day training, that's from Mike. The 3 lead per day training that we have, there is a bonus module in there that talks about PPC. So it walks you through. And if you are, obviously you're watching this video because you're content pro and above, we've done a lot of calls on PPC. If you want to start at a very small scale, we've done a lot of calls on these weekly coaching calls that you can go back and watch the recording. I would start with call number 135. All right. So Scott, should your homepage be city specific? So that really, really, really depends. That's a great question. That's from Kevin Scott. So it really depends. That's a cool thing with SEO. There's a couple of ways to go about it. If you are a company and if you're branded, let's say, you're trying to build a brand, you're trying to build just your company, and let's say that you're just not all in with optimization. One of the things that I suggest is your homepage should be general, right? It should really focus in on who your company is, because then what you can do is you can start optimizing your site just for your brand. And actually, that's probably a little bit more powerful in Google's eyes, because now you're really showcasing your brand. And then then what you do is let your site be general. You're going to have a lot of backlinks that are not going to be keyword specific. It's more branded based. Then you create your city pages, and then you can run backlinks to where those are more keyword specific. And plus, what happens is, as people are finding these city pages through a Google search, those pages become more relevant to them because it's obviously ranking for whatever city that they're putting in. So now, if you want the fast track to optimization, and let's say branding maybe is not really, you don't care about that, but you're willing to put in the work on the optimization side, and then the city, yes. I would recommend your homepage being city specific, just simply because your homepage is your most powerful page. So you want to leverage that by it being the focus of your most important city. And what is your most important city? That's really up to you. It could be where you live, your backyard, or you can choose the city that has the has the biggest population, because remember, the more population, the more volume you can have, but the harder it's going to be. So that's why you want to leverage the homepage being targeted for that city. So again, there's really no right or wrong. I think it just depends on what is your long-term goal. If you're using your website for credibility, for your offline marketing, or just anything, then I would say your homepage should be more branded, because you don't want, because if your city was if your homepage was focused on just one city, then you're driving traffic to there because you're sending postcards and another city, but you're using your general website, and then there might be disconnect from that person. So at least you can kind of direct them to a page that's just kind of all catch. So again, great question, Kevin. So there's really no right or wrong. I think it just depends on what your goal is, what you care about. Either way, me personally, I really am beginning to focus more on branding your home page and then just set up the city pages. It might be a little bit slower to rank a certain city because there's no priority. Because what happens is when you make a city your homepage, or you make your homepage city specific, then you're prioritizing saying that page is the most important. That's why it will rank the fastest. Okay, so yeah, so great question. Hopefully that helps, Kevin. Great job. What are your fees to start? Okay, so it looks like we might have some non-Carrot customers on this call, but what are your fees to start a customer with Carrot? If you're not a Carrot customer and you're watching this, congrats. You're going to get some value that's normally just for our certain members that are on a certain plan. But if you're interested in Carrot and love these coaching calls, we do them every week live for our Content Pro and above. Yeah, make sure you join, reach out to our support. If you go to carrot.com and go to the pricing plan page, you'll have all the information there. So go check it out. And then if we need to connect, we can connect with you there as well. So, all right. I haven't used SEO PPC, but are really interested in doing it. I'm in Houston, probably take about 3 minutes to get the ball rolling with quality. In Houston, Joshua, you're for Houston. I mean, you just by being in Houston, you probably inherited like the biggest task in the world with SEO, even with PPC. So SEO, it's probably going to be a 12-month, 18-month project, to be honest with you, with SEO. I mean, that's if you're just going all in. You're very consistent. You're building high-level quality backlinks. I mean, just say that you're doing everything average, not perfectly, or you're not, but you're being consistent. I would say it's probably going to be a 12-month, 18-month project, because that's just a super competitive market. You got people there already ahead of you that's done what needs to be done, and it's just playing catch up. Okay, so PPC, you're probably going to be looking if you want to really generate a good amount of leads, quality leads, and making the numbers game, you're going to have to spend anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 a month just on PPC. That's probably going to generate anywhere between 10 to 20 leads per month, depending on what your ratio is as far as how many leads that you can convert into contracts. That should kind of determine what to expect. But yeah, your budget has to be around $5,000 to $10,000 a month just to kind of be in the ball game with Houston. Yeah, Houston is just one of those super hyper competitive markets, not just competitive, but super hyper. So, Josh, hopefully that helps at least give you some insight. All right. How can you use hands-off services? So, Charles, if you're looking for hands-off services, reach out to our team and they can direct you to the marketplace, or go directly into the marketplace. We got some vendors there for both SEO and PPC. But yeah, so that's the other thing too, guys. If you just don't want to do SEO or PPC, but you see value and you have a budget, yeah, the easiest thing and best thing to do is just hand it off to the pros. Now, if you are kind of on a budget and you've had some experience, or you feel like you can work with VAs, in the 3 lead per day training, there is a module on how to hire a VA. Now, that's not the best option, of course, but what I would do if I had to use a VA, just at least get the process started, I would get a VA who has no SEO experience, but can follow instructions well. I would then get them access to the 3 lead per day training, have them jump on these weekly coaching calls, and then just make sure they report to you. Okay. So I trust our training to provide the right information for them to be successful. I just don't trust a VA that tells me they're an SEO expert, because VAs overseas, they just view SEO a little bit different. They're more about quantity than quality. And, so that's the big difference just from my experience. So the best thing to do is just get someone who is a fast learner, willing to learn, and then just give them the training. And then now because they have no knowledge, they're forced to depend on that training. And like I said, I trust our training more than someone telling me that they're an expert. And then they just kind of lead you down that path to where Google doesn't like what's happening on your site. Okay. All right. I created a second seller site that I created a second seller's lead site to get more traction in my market. Can you do citations for a second seller under the same? No, unfortunately, the way that citations, that is just set up just for one location. Okay. So you can't set up multiple locations. Because it is all about locations with Google My Business. So the only way that you could possibly make that happen is just set up a second location. That may not make sense to do so for our type of business, but and I also discourage trying to get a UPS box, even though they do give a physical address. Google is cracking down on those. All right. So, what I'm finding, or what we've experimented with, is that there's a few clients that we tried that with me, is that, and then their accounts got suspended immediately because Google is beginning to pick off addresses that are not real address. So now, if you have one of those legitimate workspace, like I think there's one they call Regent or Regis, or just look up in your local market, those workspaces where you can rent maybe a space for like $50 a month or $100, and they offer mail service. Because what happens is if they allow you to receive mail, they typically will assign a number to you. So those are going to be your best bet for sure. So yeah, unfortunately, you can't double dip the same Google My Business into 2 websites. Okay. So the solution would be, you got to just primarily set up a second location. All right. And that's the thing too. You can't, and almost the names. Well, a second location. And if you want to test something, you almost want to have a different entity too. Not entity, but just a different name. Because again, you don't want to rely on Google to sort out what's what, because again, they rely a lot on computers. So I just hate to, even though you have a second location, if you're using the same business name, their system might detect duplication and maybe they might not give you much value for having that second location. So yes, it's not perfect, but that is one solution, is just, you got to pick up a second location. All right, how can we make sure the keywords we're using highly search? Well, see, here's the thing. Scott, if you have the 3 lead per day training, there's the keyword search module, and that walks you through just on how to search for those keywords. It is a little bit time consuming, but very, very well worth it. So, and here's the thing too, guys, new SEO and is not going to be is not really dependent on making sure that it's not SEO, it's not keyword dependent like years ago. All right. So years ago, you almost have to be dead on with what you wanted to rank for, and that's what you rank for. But the cool thing with Google now is it's all about being relevant. Okay. So for me, I want to be as relevant to someone's search that might be related to someone being a motivated seller. So what I mean by that is, the cool thing is I'm not going to be fully, how do I say this? So old school SEO it was all keyword specific. So, you almost have to be right to get traffic for the keywords that's going to perform for you. But now, as long as you're choosing keywords that are relevant to what people are searching for, you're good. because here's the reality, guys. I don't think there's going to ever be a way for us to precisely guess what a seller is going to type in. Okay, there's just no way. We buy houses and sell my house fast and cash for houses. Those are what we kind of set up as a foundation, and those are probably going to be used less than 20% of the time from real sellers. Real sellers don't know our language. Real sellers don't know our jargon. Most sellers are probably going to will probably put in a long sentence that says, hey, how to sell my house quickly for cash without having to list with an agent, right? So they're asking questions, and they're doing it in a form of maybe a whole sentence, not just, we buy houses. Now, the only time that I can see someone typing in we buy houses is if your city is saturated with bandit signs. Then it makes sense that someone puts that in because they have a reference. They're referencing off of something that they saw. Most people are not just going to we buy houses are not just going to pop in their head when you're looking for an investor. There has to have been an introduction made into their mind, and usually that's bandit signs or let's say some truck had a magnet sign or a car sign or whatever. But likely, which is good news for us because all our job is just to create content that's relevant to someone who might be searching as a motivated seller. So the site obviously is optimized for we buy houses, sell my house fast. So I think those are pretty safe. So if someone puts in how to sell quickly my home for cash, Google is likely to associate that with we buy houses. So you're likely to come up for that phrase. Okay, so again, it's no longer about trying to guess what precisely someone's going to put in. I mean, you still want to do research. You still want to have a good idea what searches get searched a lot for, and just build content around that. But it's also it's always good to include keywords that mean the same thing within that search, within that content. Meaning, let's say that your foundation keyword is we buy houses. Instead of just saying we buy houses over and over, you want to sprinkle in, houses or company that buys houses or real estate investors who buy houses. All of those pretty much mean the same thing to Google. So it's good to change up the keywords in that content so it's fresh, it's readable, instead of just trying to use the same word over and over in the whole content. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, sweet. All right, let's see one more question here. Should we change up? Does it help? All right, so should we change up? Does it help? Should we change up? Okay, I'm gonna have to read this. Should we change up does it help if okay, okay, let me see what I can do. Does it help if 4 sites in a row all have the same, you sell your house fast, we buy houses around, you're saying? So yeah, I mean, one of the things I would suggest, Donovan, is if there's anything you should be changing when it comes to what is going to be the description. If everyone has need to sell your house fast and no one's changing that, yeah, of course that could have some impact. What it does, I don't know for sure, because Google's funny that way. Because a lot of times Google also contradicts themselves, but you don't want to rely on that all the time. Okay, so yeah, guys, that's what I'm saying. Donovan, if you heard earlier about customizing your content, that's a part of it, is change up the meta description or the description that you see. I wouldn't mess too much with the SEO title or the URL. Those are fine. Those usually are going to pretty much, everyone's going after the same terms, which it's because it works. But where everybody should be changing is going to be the meta description. All right. And what meta description is the one that says need to sell your house fast. We buy houses and city. Yeah, that definitely you guys should be changing up. You're fine. I try to see how I was just trying to read it as is, but then realized, wait a minute, this might have been a typo. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Donovan, let me know. Does that make sense? You definitely want to change up the meta. And what I mean by that is, let me see if it's possible. I know today this call has been very, let's see here. All right. All right, let's see how that works. I just changed that. All right, cool. All right, so let's say, gosh, for offer. All right, so what I'm talking about, guys, is, all right, so typically, I'm just going to make this up here. All right, so I'm going to go into this. All right, so typically, your URL, We Buy Houses, this, I like the safe bet for me is always We Buy Houses, you know, the city. All right, so that, and usually every website going to be using the same keywords because that's what works. All right, so now what you guys should be changing is, if you come all the way down, is right here inside the SEO tool where it says meta description, that everybody should be changing that up. Okay, so like right now, what Donovan was talking about was, should we change up? Because what he was saying was, let's see, let's say We Buy Houses. Let's just say New Orleans. So you see how most of these, everyone's going to pretty much go after the same keywords because, again, it works. So that it is what it is with that. But the part that you guys want to be changing and be editing should be right here. This is the meta description. All right. Right here. This area right here. Hopefully you guys can see the highlight. All right. All right. Let me see. All right. Sweet. All right. So that's the meta description. So that one you guys should be changing because this is the way I look at it is this is your selling point. So this section should convince someone to click on your ad. All right. And I'm seeing a lot of investors, Carrot members, unfortunately, that's not changing up the meta description. Okay. So New Orleans, it looks like really each and every one of them is pretty different, which is good. All right. So and I know in some markets, you see a lot of Carrot sites and no one's changing up anything. That's why everybody says that Carrot looks the same, because it's not that it's the same. It's just no one is following through with what we are suggesting that's being done. Okay. So, but in the meta description, you still do want to make sure your keyword is in there. But yeah, so I mean, this can not technically meta descriptions don't have direct impact with SEO, but the fact that if you can make this part good, and you're getting people to click on your link and people are staying in your site, that can have some positive impact on your SEO. So that's why I say indirectly. Okay. But yeah, good question there. Really good question, actually. Awesome. All right, cool. All right, awesome. Donovan, did that make sense? All right. All right, cool. So I just showed you guys how to. All right, awesome. Barry said show us where. So I just did that. So perfect. All right. Yeah. So again, if you go into your city page, go all the way down. It's inside the SEO tool. And then that's where the meta description. This is what shows up here in SERPs. Okay. So this is the SEO title, and then this is the URL with the URL. This is the domain with the URL. So typically those are, you just want to pretty much standard to where it's going to be Sell My House Fast and your city or We Buy Houses. That's pretty standard. That's kind of a good foundation. But the meta description, yeah, that's where, don't think SEO for meta description. Look at meta description as what can I say to really convince someone to click on my ad? Okay. So you're trying, how we reference is sell. This is where you sell the click. Yep. Yeah, just as I love your big caps, Barry. But what did we do to change it? I just explained it. So hopefully you were able to catch that. Yeah, like I said, the meta description is, and I'm not going to tell you guys what to put because you guys need to know your market. And all you want to do is, yeah, just have that thought process, guys, is what can I put in meta description that is going to help me sell and convince this person? Okay, so that's the way I would look at it. So don't think in terms of SEO. Like I said right here, what I put in here is looking for the easy and fast way to sell your Market City house that needs a lot of work. Contact us today. We buy houses fast, no scam. So that's what I put. All right. So you just got to have to spin it in a way to where, again, the thought process is sell the click. All right. So hopefully it makes sense. Barry, does that answer your question? Yeah. I mean, that's probably not the best thing. Yeah. It's probably not I don't know. I'm not a big fan of like having someone tell me what to put in there, because again, the only way we grow as a marketer, this is just my opinion, is I really feel like the reason why sometimes marketing is not effective is that we're just kind of taking a template of what someone says that we should say or do, which again, that's a good starting point, right? But at some point also, we should know our market good enough to where we know what to say. Because at the end of the day, here at Carrot, we don't know your market like you guys do. Okay, so of course we have something that you guys can kind of work with and kind of give an idea what should be in there. But the best thing to do is put in there what you feel that's going to have impact on someone to trust, that's going to trust you more, that's going to cause them to choose you over someone else. Even if you're number 3, if you're you never know. If remember how I said earlier, the number 1 position site gets the majority of the clicks. But if you're ranked number 5 or number 4 or number 2 and don't have that number 1, you should be really focused on the meta description, because what if someone reads the number 1 site and then reads yours? You have the opportunity to steal away that click from that number 1 spot because you're more compelling. You really hit on that person's emotions. So like for me, I personally like to focus on no fees. I like to focus that, hey, we're not agents. We're direct buyers, because in some markets that's very appealing. Okay. So, but that takes me knowing the market to know that. So again, being given stuff to just put in, that's a good starting point. But the best is to just go and learn your market and figure out what gets someone moving. So that's just my that's always my goal, guys, is to have you guys think as marketers, not just have us tell you what to do, because we could be off, right? So anyways, hopefully that helps, but that's a good starting point for you guys. All right. Can you show us how to turn on the main page more broad page and not a city page? To more, yeah. So Michael, what broad means is that all broad means is you're not mentioning city specific. Okay, so that's all it is broad just means you're not mentioning or you're not tying in that page to a certain area. So if you want to create a more broad homepage, you probably want to eliminate just the city mentions. That's it. It takes a lot, guys, to be penalized by Google. I mean, you got to just change. What we're talking about is not, there's no penalty worry. Like, again, you just got to that's why I'm saying, guys, like, personalize your content as much as possible. That'll eliminate anything. That'll eliminate all worry, any issues. Right. So again, you got to think like a marketer. Look at and how does a marketer think? Right. They think backwards. Who's my customer? Where are my customers going? What message can compel what message compels my customer? And then our job is to create that message and put it in the right spot. That's the way I look at it. So yeah, it doesn't, Google's not going to penalize you for anything in the meta description that you put. But I just don't worry about it, because my mindset is more, hey, how can I create a compelling message that could cause someone to click on my ad versus someone else. That's just the way I look at it. I don't worry about, hey, I'm just too much. Am I going to get penalized? Because if you're thinking that far, I think you're overthinking it. Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to stay within the limit, because I mean, and that's not because if you go over, you're going to get penalized. The reason why you want to stay within the limit is that everybody sees what you want to make sure that whatever you want to get out is seen. That's the only purpose of having that limit count. If you go over, it's not that you get penalized. It's just that it's just not going to show up for people to read. So it has nothing to do with Google saying, hey, you go over this limit, we're going to drop the hammer. No, it just means if you go over the limit, people are just not going to see that last section of it. Cool. All right. Then can we duplicate that? Yeah, I mean, so here, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, guys. I mean, we have a whole tutorial that shows you how to create those city pages. Yeah, I mean, what I would do is just, if you want make your homepage broad, just get rid of the city pages. But what I would do first, though, is if you haven't created any city pages yet, but you're going to, and you're going to make your city broad or your homepage broad, what I would probably do first is duplicate the current homepage with the short codes in it first. Then you have a copy of the content with the short codes. And then that will be your master copy when you create all of your city pages, because then you're avoiding having to put in the the short codes back in, all that stuff. So I would just duplicate your homepage now with the city information, and then that'll be your master template to create other city pages. And then the last thing you would do, just go into the city page and then just remove, or go into the home page and remove all the city references. That's the way I would do it. Yeah, Donovan. So cool. What is the video transcribing software? Here has a discount. So it's not really anything that you're buying outside of Carrot. It's something that's already built into the to your current pages. So what you would do is go into posts. All right, we're already okay. Yeah. So it's just. It's an option that you guys can choose when you're creating a new post, right? So let's say I create a new blog post, and really all it is that if you create a video and you want to kind of convert that into a written blog post, first create the video, right? Try and make it anywhere between 3-5 minutes long, and then all you're gonna do is right here, just go to add new posts. You're going to choose video. Then you're going to have to first upload that video into YouTube. YouTube is probably the best because it's free and it's just reliable. So you're just going to put your URL link, and then you submit, and then that video will get transcribed. Yeah. I mean, as far as SEO, like I said, first of all, guys, don't do video for the sake of SEO. I always say, produce a video that's going to just naturally help people. Okay. So walk them through a process, walk them through helping someone overcome an objection, maybe that they have with possibly working with an investor. Do that first, and then just transcribe it. I just think that video is a great way. Google loves video because, one, it keeps people on your site longer. It helps people stay engaged. It provides a good user experience. So just doing video in itself is not really what brings value to the SEO, which it does to a degree, but the way that just impacts your SEO is that if it's good content, people stay on your site because they're watching the video, if you think about it. Okay. So it's having good content causes someone to stay, engage, and hopefully take that next step, which is to fill out the form. So the longer that you can get people interacting with your site, staying on your site, those are the traits that Google's looking for. Okay. So Because what's going to happen is that the reason why I say that don't do SEO, don't do a video for the fact of SEO, because if you do that, you're probably not going to put a video that's well thought out. Okay, so what's going to happen is you're just going to create a video that's probably, let's say it's crappy. Then what you think this by doing a video is going to boost your website. What's going to happen is that you get people engaged with that content. They're just going to think, wow, this is helpful. So what happens? They bounce. They jump off your site and go somewhere else. And if Google sees that you're just not going to get promoted. So kind of, again, so it's probably more of a mindset thing, is create content with video that, first of all, most important, is going to bring value. Okay. And then transcribe that into video, or transcribe it to where it's a written text, create a blog post out of it. And just naturally, if it's good content, it will rank very well. Obviously you might have to clean up some of the content and maybe insert different opportunities of adding keywords. Again, you don't want to just drop in keywords though. You got to make sure it makes sense. So you can alter the written content a little bit, for sure. But if you've done the right way, you can definitely, you can do very well with it. So we have, I think there is a blog post that we have that we talk about it. So go into our blog section, and there should be a video. There should be a whole article that we did on that. All right. So reach out to support and let them help you find that. I know we did a whole piece on it, and we can even do a whole call on it too if you guys want to see that. Yeah, it's in here somewhere. I just don't know where it's at right now. All right. Did that make sense, Donovan? Just what the proper mindset is to have first? Yeah, Michael. So, hey, Michael, send through your website. I think we're kind of getting confused here. So if you want to send through your website, I mean, I can kind of show you your website as an example of how to do that. So. Oh, there's a cost to it. I mean, if you look at Michael, yeah, there's a. Oop, I just muted myself. Yeah, if you see there's a cost to it, it's right here, $1.25 per minute. So $1.25. So there is a cost to it. And then if you guys want to learn more, oh, here we go. Here's a, if you click on, there's a little link here too at the bottom when you get one started, learn more, and it'll help you through, really walk you through how to do that, and just kind of some tips there too as well. Oh, right here, this support article, that's what it was. All right, so, yep. Right here, that's here's the one. So just go to content.
What's up, y'all?
All right, so Trevor walks you through that whole thing. Awesome, cool. Yeah, so Michael, looks like you're not answering. So what you can do, Michael, is just reach out to support, and then they can help you with that. So just kind of let them know, hey, I'm looking to make my homepage broad. And again, broad just means content without any cities mentioned or locations mentioned. Okay, so just let them know what the goal is. Hey, I would love to make my homepage general, but I'm also going to create city pages. Is there a way that you can help me make sure that I create that? So so hopefully that helps. But yeah, reach out to support and we can help you with that as well. Cool. All right, let's see. Any questions over on YouTube? Awesome. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. So looks like all the questions have stopped. So hopefully that's good. Either I did a terrible job or all the questions got answered. So just by kind of going through the demos. But yeah, guys, first of all, again, thank you so much for being patient on this call. This call was a whole different type format. Again, Google kind of threw an audible at us that I just wasn't prepared for. I'll be transparent. It's not that Google suddenly dropped Hangout out of the blue. I just didn't prepare for it, so I'll definitely take the blame for that. So my apologies there. Hopefully you still got some value. Thank you for sticking around this long. And hopefully a lot of stuff we went over. I try to stay away from making the subject too complex, because once you kind of make it too technical, everybody gets lost. So hopefully the way I explained it made sense, helped. And of course, if there's any additional questions, everybody just reach out to support. We can help clarify, or we can help clarify exactly what you're trying to do, because not everyone is going to be doing exactly the same thing. So if there's something you have in mind, I'm always happy to say, okay, do this. Just tell me what your objective is. And I'm really good at telling you what you should do. That's why we have we have these weekly coaching calls. And then if you guys want to set up a one-on-one call, you can do that as well. Just go to carrot.com/call. I don't know what the availability is. Sometimes there is a 1 week, 2 week wait, but it's worth it. Because on those 15-minute calls, we can go over, you tell me what you're trying to accomplish, and I can help put the game plan together. Okay. So, but you got to come to those calls with a plan, with an idea what you're trying to do. So anyways, awesome. All right. Actually, some just came through, so it might have been lagging. Does it help to have various domains forwarded to the same? No. Does it help to have various domains forwarded to the same? No. Forwarding domains to each other just doesn't. There's no value in the SEO side. The only time that you want to forward a domain to a new domain is if that old domain had SEO value. So meaning that you've done a lot of SEO to that old, and let's say you're rebranding or you just want to change your domains. That's the only time that it makes sense to do a forwarding. Other than that, there's no value in doing that at all. Buying domains that point to specific pages in your website, like a domain for city, does that help at all? Buying domains that point to specific pages in your website, buying domains that point. Yeah, actually, that's funny, Barry. You just you and Donovan pretty much asked the same thing. No, I mean each site, you can't have multiple domains. No, I mean domains in itself, guys, just has no SEO value anymore. Google kind of took that away. So if you're trying to forward other domains to a city specific, no. I mean, the only thing you guys should be doing is just building backlinks. If you want a certain city page to really be ranking well, the easiest solution is just build backlinks to that city page. But just forwarding other domains, there's just no value in that. So. Sweet. All right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, Barry, you can't game the system. I tried that. No, I'm just teasing. I don't. Yeah, that's a tough thing, guys. I mean, Google. Here's the thing, guys. Remember how I said earlier, you got to take Google. Now this is not permission to say to do what I just said not to do, but I just know because I tested it. But Google's never gonna 100% reveal how everything that is known about SEO is just through best practice, through trial. I mean, just trial and error, everything, right? So there is best practices with SEO, but I know Google will never reveal exactly what it takes to rank a site. Because they make money through pay-per-click. They make money through Google AdWords. If they want to make it hard to rank, or at least take a long time for it to rank. Okay, so that's why SEO takes time, because they don't make money in SEO. Now, of course, they still want to bring value to websites ranking organically, because if they just start ranking everybody, then people wouldn't want to use Google, right? So that's why. So there's this big business that's tied into Google AdWords But yeah, you just got to take Google for the grain of salt. You just kind of have to just practice, things that are within your control and all that. So yeah, Google's a funny beast, but I wouldn't recommend gaming it. So funny, man. Awesome. So cool. I was thinking in terms of marketing offline. So yeah, I mean, the only thing, so I'll say this one thing and I'll let everybody go. So Donovan, that's a good point too. I was thinking in terms of marketing offline. So here's the thing. If you guys are marketing offline, so here's my website, right? So let's say I have this site. Okay. I'm just making this up. So here's a site, getcashforoffer.com. If I was putting that, here's what I've done. Actually, I'm doing it with Deal Machine actually. So Donovan, hopefully this helps. So again, my goal as a marketer is always to make to bring value and also to bring a good user experience and make things as easy as possible. So if you guys have a very long domain, and you're doing offline marketing and you're putting your website on printed marketing like postcards or whatever, like anything offline, what I've done is that I've gone out and got a very short domain and used that on my printed marketing. And what I would do is I would set up that if someone were to type in that domain, I would have it forwarded to my regular website. Now, that's not because of SEO value. Remember, someone who's typing in your website are probably going to likely do it from their mobile phone. So I don't want them trying to sit there trying to type in my long domain at all. So the way you can bring value and make easy for someone is to choose a very short domain. Think again with a thought process that this person is going to be on their phone and they're going to be typing in. Because I don't know about you, there's times to where like I was wanting to go to a website, I had to type it in, and it was just too frustrating. Okay, so the only the value wouldn't be on the SEO. It's just you're making it easy for them. So does that make sense? Again, it's all about making it super easy, because the easier it is for someone to do something, the more likely they're gonna do what you say that you want, or they're likely to do what you want them to do. So make it super easy for them. Okay, so I did that with my Deal Machine. So my Deal Machine postcards, I bought a domain that's very short, that if someone types it in, it's easy for them, but all I did is on the back end, I have it redirected to my current site. So awesome. So cool. Yeah. So love it. Yeah. So another good question. Now I'll let you guys go about any value going after Bing, Internet Explorer, and Yahoo different ways. So here's a problem with Bing and Yahoo, guys, is that they don't have a formal standard when it comes to how to rank. The reason why Google, the advantage that Google has had over all these years is they have a standard when it comes to what it takes to rank. Okay, so when they're standard, at least you know where to start, and at least you have an idea what needs to be done, where to focus your time. They're not going to give the full recipe, but they give a good structure. Yahoo and Bing are the opposite. They're just know that their algorithm is not very structured. Let's put it that way. That's why. I mean, here's the thing too, though. But if you're naturally ranking in Google, you're probably going to naturally rank decent in Yahoo, but Bing or Yahoo and Bing. But there's just, I mean, you can submit a sitemap to Bing. That can help, just like you submit a sitemap to Google's console, but it's just they're not very dependable. Let's just put it that way. Hopefully that makes sense. Sweet. All right. Awesome, guys. Hopefully that would there were some really good questions that kind of you guys snuck in some really good questions at the end. So awesome. So please let me know if you guys got value out of this call. I always like to gauge. That question is not from me, actually, to be honest. It's just I always like to figure out what can we talk about next time or in future calls. Because again, these calls are really meant to support you guys and what you need help with now, right? So I don't want to just talk about something that's just, whatever, but we want to make sure that we're producing these coaching calls around topics that's going to help you guys now. So great questions towards the end. But either way, everyone, thank you so much for being in this call. You guys rock. Thank you so much. And we will see you next time. Awesome.